Welcome to the unsettling reality of the digital age, where convenience comes at a hidden cost. Games, music, movies, everything we once owned now lives in the cloud. But what if I told you that shiny new software or favorite album you bought could disappear overnight? We're entering a world where your purchases aren't really yours. They're rented, controlled by corporations that can revoke access with a click. Have you ever wondered what happens when licensing replaces ownership? Or how your digital library could vanish without a warning? Stick around as we peel back the layers, exposing the dark truths, digital products, and the growing risks we rarely see coming. Let's get started. For decades, we enjoyed media in physical forms. Books, DVDs, CDs, video game cartridges, and vinyl records. I just started a vinyl collection, by the way. These objects weren't just sources of entertainment. They were tangible, personal items we could collect, sell, trade, or revisit whenever we wanted. When you bought a physical game, a movie, or an album, it belonged to you. No corporation could come to your house and take it away. But in recent years, the shift toward digital has gained momentum. Platforms like Steam, Apple TV, and PlayStation stores have pushed consumers toward purely digital experiences. Instead of heading to a store to pick up a disc, like we did in the old days at GameStop, we can now purchase a game or movie online with a click and start using it almost instantly. The convenience comes with a trade-off: a loss of control over the products we once owned. The ownership model has quietly morphed into an access-based system where companies can restrict or revoke access at any time. One glaring example of this trend is Ubisoft's controversial decision to delist games from Steam. Despite consumers paying full price for games like Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, a remaster of one of the greatest games ever made, they discovered that the game would soon be removed from their libraries, making it completely unplayable. Even if someone purchased these games, they never truly owned them. What they bought was the permission to play. Contingent on Ubisoft's ongoing agreement with the platform, the moment that agreement changes, the game vanishes, and with it, your access. This shift isn't limited to gaming. It extends to movies, TV shows, and music as well. Imagine buying a documentary on Apple TV, only to find it gone without a trace because the licensing deal expired. This exact scenario happened to many users who suddenly found purchased content disappearing from their libraries with no compensation. Apple didn't breach a contract, though, because under the terms of digital ownership, the consumer never really owned the movie. They only purchased the right to access it, and once the legal agreements changed, that access was revoked. Digital products may bring convenience, but they also come with hidden risks. One major shift is the rise of subscription-based services like Netflix, Spotify, and Disney+, which have subtly reshaped how we think about ownership. Instead of owning media, consumers now simply pay for access. But what happens with when these services remove content or change their terms? Suddenly, the things you thought you owned are gone, with no compensation or recourse. Streaming platforms constantly rotate content based on licensing agreements. A striking example is Sony's announcement that Discovery content purchased on PlayStation would be removed from user libraries by the end of 2023. Even though users paid for these shows, Sony retains the legal right to pull them. This reveals the unsettling truth. Even when you purchase digital products, you're not really buying them. You're getting temporary access, and that access can be revoked at any time. The problem deepens with the fragmentation of content across multiple platforms. Want to watch The Mandalorian? You'll need Disney+. Stranger Things? Netflix. And if you're craving The Office, you'll need to subscribe to Peacock. Consumers are forced to juggle multiple services, each offering access to only a portion of their favorite content. This piecemeal access makes it nearly impossible to build a cohesive long-term collection, as we once did with DVDs or CDs. And since content can disappear without warning, any semblance of permanence vanishes. Another issue is the inability to transfer digital purchases across services. When platforms shut down, like Google Play Music, users are left scrambling to back up their collections before everything is lost. If they miss the window to download or transfer, their purchases simply disappear. This highlights the fragility of the digital ecosystem, where your access to media is only as secure as the company providing it. One shutdown, licensing dispute, or policy change could wipe out the years of accumulated content. Ultimately, the shift from ownership to access leaves consumers vulnerable and dependent on ever-changing platforms and subscription models. While the digital age offers unprecedented convenience, it also erodes the sense of control we once had over our collections. The media we enjoy today could be gone tomorrow, leaving us to wonder if we ever truly owned it in the first place. The gaming industry provides a striking example of this, of pitfalls of digital ownership. Many modern games are tethered to online servers, meaning that even single-player experiences can become useless if those servers shut down. A prime example is The Crew, an online multiplayer game that became unplayable the moment its servers were taken offline. Despite paying full price, players were left with nothing more than a digital relic. An unsettling reminder that we buy digitally isn't truly ours. This issue isn't hypothetical. It's becoming increasingly common as gaming companies emphasize online-only experiences and phase out physical editions. With the decline of discs and cartridges, consumers are now completely dependent on the whims of publishers and platforms. If a game is pulled from an online store, or the servers supporting it do not exist anymore, the game effectively ceases to exist. Regardless of how much players invested, in contrast, retro gamers can still enjoy titles from decades ago. San Andreas, WWE, 2K1, games like this. But in the digital era, games can disappear permanently, leaving players with no way to reclaim their purchases. Even efforts to preserve older games are not without flaws. Nintendo has tried to address this through initiatives like the Virtual Console and the Nintendo Switch Online, offering access to classic titles. However, these digital collections are still controlled by the company, meaning players must rely on Nintendo servers to access their games. If a title is ever removed from the library, users are powerless to stop it from vanishing. The shift toward online-only gaming highlights the fragility of the digital ecosystem. Unlike physical copies that remain playable for years, digital games exist only as long as the servers stay online, and the platforms support them. This dynamic leaves players vulnerable, constantly at the mercy of corporate decisions that determine the fate of their games. Ultimately, the convenience of digital gaming comes at a steep cost, one that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. As the industry moves further away from physical media, the notion of true ownership fades, replaced by temporary access that can be revoked without warning. Gamers today must confront the harsh reality that what they buy digitally may only be theirs for as long as the servers stay active. We have, as an unexpected outcome of the shift to digital-only content, is the resurgence of piracy. For years, piracy had been declining, thanks to affordable streaming services offering convenient access to vast media libraries. However, as content becomes increasingly fragmented across platforms and companies begin revoking access to purchase items, frustrated consumers are once again turning to illegal downloads to secure what they believe should remain theirs. Piracy appeals to users precisely because it offers a sense of permanence that illegal digital purchases fail to provide. Once downloaded, pirated content can't be revoked or deleted by a third party, making it a tempting solution for those fed up with losing access to items they've paid for. While piracy is both illegal and ethically questionable, it underscores a deeper issue: the flaws in the current model of digital ownership. Consumers crave security and reliability in their purchases. They want to know their content will remain accessible for years to come. Ironically, stricter control companies exert over digital content is pushing some people toward piracy. When consumers lose access to purchase media or must juggle multiple subscriptions to watch their favorite shows, they often feel justified in seeking out illegal alternatives. This dynamic illustrates how overly restrictive policies can backfire. driving users away from legitimate platforms and towards solutions that offer the freedom and stability they no longer find in legal options. Piracy's revival serves as a wake-up call to content providers. Consumers want ownership, not access. Unless companies address this growing dissatisfaction, the trend toward piracy may only continue, reflecting a broader frustration with the limitations and uncertainties of today's digital landscape. If the current system of digital ownership isn't working, what can be done to improve it? While a complete overhaul is unlikely, several steps could help restore consumer trust and create a more sustainable model. One solution is ensuring offline functionality. Games that rely heavily on online components should offer online modes, allowing players to continue enjoying their purchases even after servers shut down. This would prevent games from becoming obsolete due to corporate decisions. Additionally, companies should grant more users control by allowing digital purchases to be stored locally. Consumers need the ability to download and keep files independent of online storefronts. This way, even if a game or movie is removed from a platform, customers retain their access to their content. Preservation initiatives are also essential in this digital landscape. Partnering with organizations like GOG.com to create digital archives for older media can ensure that these works aren't lost to time. It's crucial to safeguard the availability of classic games, music, or films for future generations. Another important step is reducing fragmentation through unified platforms. Today, consumers are forced to navigate multiple services, often juggling different subscriptions just to access scattered collections of content. Simplifying access by consolidating content across fewer platforms would make it easier for users to enjoy their media without unnecessary complications. While these measures won't eliminate every challenge, they will significantly reduce the risk associated with digital ownership. Ultimately, consumers deserve more than just temporary access to the content they purchase. They need the ability to enjoy and preserve their own terms. True ownership must extend beyond licenses, giving buyers the freedom to use their media without being tethered to corporate policies or unstable online systems. As we move further into the digital age, it's crucial to recognize the dangers of the current model of ownership. Whether it's a game, movie, or piece of music, the idea that we don't truly own our digital purchases has profound implications. We're entering a world where corporations, not consumers, hold the keys to our libraries, and access can be revoked at any moment. The allure of digital convenience blinds us to the risk lurking beneath the surface. It's time to demand better standards for digital ownership, ensuring that what we buy today will still be ours tomorrow. Until companies make meaningful changes, we must remain vigilant, aware that every download, stream, and purchase comes with hidden strings attached. As we wrap up our exploration of digital ownership, it's clear that our access to media is fraught with uncertainties. Don't let corporations dictate your entertainment. If you found this discussion eye-opening, please leave a like and subscribe for more insights into the evolving landscape of digital rights. Thank you. We're still toxic.